Hey Chad,
Yeah.
what do you like to mic your drums with?
Oh, interesting question. So, drums are a hard thing. It's kind of as a producer or an engineer, you spend your whole life figuring out how to make drums sound good. It's sort of a lifelong endeavor, right? And if I was a producer or an engineer that traveled around to other studios a lot, then that my answer would probably evolve and change a bit depending on where I am. But I happen to have my own studio. And so my room and my situation kind of is such that you fall into a particular way of doing things that complements the room and so on and so forth. So I'll kind of speak from that perspective. A lot of it's pretty standard, like I have two mics on the kick drum, one inside and one on the outside. You get a boomier sound on the outside, a snappier sound on the inside. Those things work together very well. You got to make sure they're in phase. I have two mics on the snare, one on the top, one on the bottom. The top gets all the body and the meat and the crack and everything, and then the bottom one you get the sizzle of the snare. So that's a pretty common thing. All of those mics so far I've mentioned are dynamic mics. Okay, I happen to use a Shure, what is it, Beta 52, I think it is, on the inside. Very common, sounds great. I use a sub kick for the outside mic, but it could be other things as well. 57s on top and bottom on the snare. I mean, how that's just if you can't do it with a 57, you need to move on and get a job at Walmart or something. And then I put up. I like not a condenser mic, but rather a dynamic mic on the hi hat because I don't want a real crisp, a real high end sizzle on the hats. I want a chunky sound, so I usually put and it could be anything. It could be a 57 or some other dynamic mic. I put 421s on the toms, and that's a real classic sound. Close mic'd on the toms. I don't mic the bottom of toms. A lot of people do, but I just generally get results I like on the top. I put a pair of overheads in XY position. In this room, I put a small diaphragm condenser mics, and I put them in an XY position. You don't have any phasing problems. I like that, and it sounds nice in there. And then I put two room mics in our room, and I don't do them in stereo. I just have two mono room mics, one out in front, one behind the drummer. And because my room isn't really wide, it's more narrow, that seems to work very well in our space. And so that's how I do it. The results are good, and I'm happy with them. And but there's 100 different ways to do it, and you guys may have some other ideas, but that's the way I do it anyway. Oh, and by the way, those room mics are condensers. I should have